Good stuff.
I'm Aaron Williams. I am 41 years old. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
The veteran Jack Vaughn. I am 39 from Cincinnati, Ohio.
My name is Jake Omen, 37 years old, and I'm from just north of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Strikes, right? Make every strike.
And we're just going to kind of work on lockups for a little bit. Does everyone
I feel like it could be explained, but after
My name is Jake Omen. I'm a professional wrestler, a world traveler, and a coach. I want to learn about every culture, have a cup of coffee or a dinner or a night out at a nightclub with people with no shared language, and wrestling is my passport to do just that. Pro wrestling might be silly to some, and I might often be found guilty of taking my sport too seriously, but regardless, it's brought me to 40 countries so far and allowed me to build some of the most important relationships in my life. It's allowed me to gain more knowledge, wisdom, and empathy than I ever thought possible, and I'm thrilled that you can take just a little bit of that journey with me. A little bit about your journey in pro wrestling.
I started training, I believe, in 2002 in Price Hill, Cincinnati, under a gentleman by the name of Tom Giamonti. Then I left there when I realized that I wasn't really growing. I went to somewhere else where I also really wasn't growing. I eventually ended up in Heartland Wrestling Association, training with Cody Hawk and a slew of other people who are high caliber professional wrestlers. Many have went on to be on some of the biggest shows in our industry, and wrestled there until it closed, and I've kind of been doing my own thing ever since. So for about 21 years I've got to wrestle a lot of big names and be on a lot of cool shows and get to do a lot of cool stuff, and I guess that's pretty much it. Baseline.
Yep.
Oh man, so I started in 2004, started training under Shark Boy. When I was done training with Shark, I started training with Roger Ruffin, the NWF in Cincinnati. And for the first 10 years of my career, was the stereotypical 40-miler. Didn't really do a whole lot. Got to work with some really cool guys, got to work with some big names over the course of those years, but didn't really do a whole lot. And then I decided to retire in 2013. Took a few years off, and then in 2019 decided to come back because I felt like I didn't quite give that first run everything I had. So came back as Wild Thing Jack Vaughn, and then a year later came up with the Veteran, and then things were going pretty well for me. And then anyone who's watching this, if they already know me, it's likely because I have a pretty good following on social media through some wrestling satire videos that I do. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
I got into the world of professional wrestling at 17 years old. When I was in high school, I looked up wrestling schools on my dial-up internet on my AOL, and I found two, and one was a little over 2 hours away, and I knew that there's no way I could balance that with high school as a senior year. It just started, and the other one was like an hour and 10 minutes away, and somehow I convinced my parents to let me go to that wrestling school and to spend the limited college funds that I had saved up on that wrestling school. And that was 2004. And I went there and I trained, and I really just got beat to a pulp. Most days I showed up, and they'd have training 3 days a week technically. And I would show up 3 days a week, and then 2 of those days, someone actually would show up to beat me up and train me. And I figured out how to get slammed, and I figured out how to slam, and I figured out how to kind of deal with the pain. And about 4 months later, I ended up debuting at a show unexpectedly.
Where are you right now, and how did that come up?
Right now, I am in, where am I?
Krakow.
I'm in Krakow, Poland. I'm really bad with places and names, but I'm in Poland.
Or
and-
anywhere you've been in the last few weeks. Just name places you've been in the last few weeks.
We've been in, let's see, we were in Bulgaria, and we were in, I can't say the one.
Yeah, we can't say it.
We can't say
correctly.
it.
None of
can't
them.
say it correctly.
Yeah, it's not Roquan.
It's not Roquan.
Definitely not
It
Roquan.
looks like it, but it's
Yeah,
not.
it's not.
And right now we're at the airport. And, yeah, so that's where we're at right now.
So I am currently in Krakow, Poland. That came about because a couple years ago went on my first European trip, and one thing that's been cool is that when people in Europe find out that you're willing to come to Europe, they're more likely to reach out to you. And a lot of them, I think, also probably know me because of the social media stuff. So this happened just because a year ago we almost made Poland happen. It fell through, unfortunately. But when we decided that we had kind of dates that we wanted to hit Europe, it started with an opportunity to do some training for a new wrestling school in Bulgaria. And then we just coordinated with the promoter in Poland to get on a show and do some training.
It came about because Jack Vaughn is a very good friend of mine, and he is super over on the TikToks and the internets. And my very good friend, which is sitting behind the camera, Jake Omen, who is a world traveler, were kind enough to allow me to come along with them for the second year in a row.
All right, boys. First camp showdown. How was our travel day yesterday? What was our travel day yesterday?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
That's right.
All the above.
3 hours in a plane, 3 hours in a train. Like what, 5 in a
Like
in a
another
car?
5 in the car.
But we made it.
Then
We did the show.
We did
we
it.
wrestled, and we had two of the 3 matches. Then we got to hang out for 2.5 hours because it was pouring rain. We couldn't break down the ring.
Yeah.
And we started breaking down the ring at like what, 10:15,
Yep, and then it just kept raining.
and we broke down the ring in front of a bunch of drunk people while it was still continuing to rain.
I dropped a ring post on myself.
Oh yeah, Aaron almost died. I didn't even see it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. The only reason I wanted to pick up a full ring post is because the veteran of the territory did it.
I ain't doing that.
Almost cost Aaron his life.
Posts are a 2-man job, brother.
And today, we took the ring out of one van and put it into a new van
You guys did. I kind of
because, no, we all 3 took the ring from a broken down van to an Enterprise rental van. And today we drive 2 hours, wrestle the same matches probably, break it down, drive 2 hours, do the same matches again. And then hopefully we get to sleep in what could be our own accommodations.
Yeah.
Unlike our 7 people to a small mobile home last night.
Slept it out.
Yep.
It's cool.
I slept halfway on the floor with couch cushions. It was great.
I slept very well, actually.
Yeah. I'm glad Aaron convinced me to take the sheet. It got very cold.
It did.
Sam, we have to make a fair race. Megaslam Wrestling.
Chop down a tree, chop down a tree, chop down a tree.
Yeah, here we go. Give him a boo, boys and girls.
2014, I took my first trip to Europe, and I booked it just as a vacation because I was not an accomplished wrestler and no one knew who I was. So I knew the only way I was going to get into the scene was to just show up. And I only got one show before I left the United States and got to Europe. And I had been very persistent in bugging some of these companies that I would be at their show no matter what. And that one show turned into 3 shows as I got into Europe. And as I let people know I would still be there, and then one gave in and booked me. And then my performance on a Saturday night in Sweden landed me a really good show in Denmark the next day. And from that point, I met all these new cool people overseas, and the networking in Europe just kept going for me.
Coaching people overseas.
it's what's the word? Overwhelming sometimes, you know, because I don't really think that I should be. I've always been of the mindset that as long as there are people way better than me coaching, I shouldn't be coaching. But I do have a lot of knowledge in my head, so it's an honor to be able to do it for sure. And it's been an incredible experience on a massive amount of levels. But to be able to do something that I worked so hard to be relatively good at, to go across the world and share whatever knowledge is in my head with a bunch of other people who are also hungry to learn and fell in love with this business is humbling, man. It's really humbling.
You say you feel like you might not be qualified to coach. What do you think your peers would say about you?
I mean, they would probably say that I'm dumb for thinking that way, and that I have more than enough to offer in that respect. That's probably what they would say. I guess. I don't know. You're my peers. You'd have to tell me.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know our feelings on that.
Yeah.
You say your peers would say you're more than qualified and you should be teaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what's your?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I still kind of feel like I have that imposter syndrome, where I'm not quite sure if I actually know what I'm talking about. But as I'm gaining that confidence over time.
Over the last 5 years, I started coaching aspiring pro wrestlers. I just kind of fell into it. It wasn't something I felt like I was qualified to do at the time. And now I have coached in, I think, 11 countries, 12 countries, something like that. And I've been to 36 countries thanks to pro wrestling. My quest is now to become the most traveled pro wrestler in the world. And there's a couple guys who have huge shoes to fill when it comes to that. Guys like M-Dog 20 Matt Cross, who I have the highest amount of respect for, and actually made me want to do this. Be a world traveler and a professional wrestler and really put my money where my mouth is.
What do you think about the professional wrestling scene in Europe and the places you've been?
Compared to people in the United States, I feel like people in the U.S. are kind of spoiled. You know, there's not as many opportunities out here, and they all have to work extra hard to get the opportunities that they get. And, they don't always have, a lot of them have to travel far to even find a wrestling school. So I think the people out here, they're a little bit hungrier, just because they don't have so much wrestling around them that's, you throw a rock in any direction in the States and you can find 10 different companies. So, it's now there's not as much competition over here. There's not as many professional wrestlers, but that just means, you got to work even extra harder to get to that next level, because everyone is just as hungry as you are, it seems.
How do you feel about the students in those places, the companies?
Man, they're awesome, really. They're all hungry, in Bulgaria especially, because they don't have an independent scene. They don't have an HWA. They don't have an NWF. They don't have an ROH. They don't have a WWE. They don't have a TNA. They don't have an AEW. They don't have any of that. They are literally creating it from nothing. and they are hungry and driven to such a great extent. It blows my mind to know that one of the young gentlemen, Stan, if I remember correctly, was his name, who walked us home the last day of the training. I'm pretty sure his name was Stan. And he kind of expressed to us that, gosh, what was it? It was like, for us, it was like, I don't know, 30 degrees or something outside. And he expressed to us that he walks miles to go to training in that kind of weather, just to get started, with no promises of anything. No, you're going to get on a show. No, you're going to be a star one day. No, hey, you're going to meet all these people. You're going to do all this stuff. You're going to be, you know, a big fish in a small pond. No promises of that at all. Nothing. He's got nothing to go on except for his love of this business and wanting to be a part of it. That's incredible. And they all have similar stories. They all have, and there was, gosh, like 30 of them? A lot of them that just want it so bad. And you can see it, and you can feel it, and it's awesome. It's really great.
What does pro wrestling mean to you?
Yeah, here I am. Your skin is in my way. Could you make way for me?
Pro wrestling is basically the one constant I've had in my life, my entire life. So it was something that I started watching with my dad. My dad was a fan, so I've been a fan from a very young age. And then, you know, I had friends that eventually got out of it, and I never did. It was just like that one thing that's always been there for me. And then when I decided to get into wrestling, I've been able to accomplish more than I ever even thought I would. I obviously had big dreams. Some of those didn't work out, but for me, wrestling is, I mean, it's the best. There's nothing that I've done in my life that gives me the rush of coming through the curtain and getting in the ring and performing. So, what does wrestling mean to me? It just means it's sort of gives me purpose in a way, you know. Not to say that, like, you know, I love my life outside of wrestling, but wrestling is like that one thing that like really motivates me.
I mean, yeah, it's wrestling. It's simulated fighting, but there's so much beauty in it, just like a film. Like, film can have so much beauty in it, and it can captivate you in such an incredible way, whether it's to give you humor or sorrow or fear or excitement. Wrestling does the same thing in live, real-time performances. And if you take it seriously, you can become a larger-than-life character and bring someone out of their life for a moment into what's going on in front of them. That's, to me, that's the art of what we do. If you're doing it right and you figure it out, it's your truest self.
Gas station, and I was freezing. I couldn't go anywhere. There was no hotel, so the guy takes me to his place. I take a shower. He gives me his clothes, and he gives me raki, and I get fucking drunk. And he made me the best omelet I've ever had. And I thought I was
Yeah. And that's how it is with wrestling. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind. If promoters, if other wrestlers, if bookers are not seeing you, then they can't think about
Has anything crazy happened to you on these trips?
Crazy. I guess the whole experiences in general are kind of crazy. Just to be able to say that I traveled to these countries in order to wrestle is kind of a crazy experience. I feel like you're leading me to something. I just can't think of it.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I was thinking about last night when you just got given keys to a car.
Oh, yes. I guess that would.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I did drive internationally for the first time last night in Poland. Luckily.
Is that legal, actually?
Technically, yeah.
Okay.
Technically, if you have a driver's license,
He asked if I had a driver's license.
somewhere in the world, it should transfer.
Okay.
AAA will sell you, though, a quote-unquote international driver's license for $20 or $30, but I think it's kind of a work.
Yeah.
I bought one years ago.
Like a wrestling license.
Kind of. Yeah.
But yeah, I got to drive internationally. Luckily, in Poland, they all drive on the same side on the road as the Americans do. Some of the signs I didn't understand, so I probably broke a law or two, but we made it home in one piece, which is all that matters.
How'd it come about?
Wszystkich pasażerów odlatujących z wyjść od 12 do 18 prosimy o zgłaszanie się do kontroli paszportowej z powodu wydłużonego czasu oczekiwania.
So
Your attention, please. All passengers with departing from gates from 12 to 18 are kindly requested to proceed to the passport control due to the prolonged waiting times.
Side question, what gate are we?
4.
Beautiful. That doesn't pertain to us.
How did it come about? It basically just came about because we did some training with the guys at Primetime Wrestling, and then went out, had some dinner, and then our host, Lukascz, who's been a wonderful host, gave us a wonderful place to stay. He basically just handed me the keys to his car and said, hey, I have 2 cars here, so here you go. And then said, if you want to go out, go do something, but, you know, just take it back to the flat. And that's kind of like, no questions asked, I kind of just had to do it.
How far down the road were we before we realized something important?
Oh yeah, we got a few kilometers down. We realized that there was no gas in the car, so we were almost on empty. So that was quite the experience. So I put in a few liters of gas in the car.
Oh yeah. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Other than just these trips are something that I look forward to every year, and hopefully we can make more of them happen.
Hell yeah. Cool.
A couple of years ago, I was in Romania, and the promoter of the show was kind enough to drive me to Bran Castle, also colloquially known as Dracula's Castle. And after we got there, he got really tired and asked me to drive back. So I drove 5 hours back through the country of Romania. And over there, drivers are insane, and they drive really, really fast, and they pass going uphill around steep corners on not 2-lane highways, but like 1.75 lane highways. And he's fallen asleep in the passenger seat, and I'm trying to use the GPS on my phone, which isn't exactly set up to work in Europe. But I got us home safely, and I don't think...
What's a crazy story that's come from traveling?
Oh, God.
Or just anything funny?
Well, today, I'll tell this one because it's funny. We were in... where were we?
Krakow?
Yeah, that's where we're at now. Yeah. And they got this fire-breathing dragon. It's just a statue, right? But it breathes fire. And we were just kind of, you know, we like to go around and see things because, you know, we're here to do that, you know. So we're like looking for this dragon, and for some reason they don't just have hey, the dragon's this way anywhere. Like, good, but they don't. So we're just walking around looking for this dragon, and then suddenly we're near it. We almost find it. And for whatever reason, I guess because, I don't know, somebody above us thought it would be funny to just be like, hey, let's just send a storm right now. So there we are in the middle of nothing on this road with nothing around us except for this fire-breathing dragon. And it just starts downpouring rain and wind blowing, almost knocking us over to the point that we just get completely soaked. And then we have to walk like nearly a kilometer just to get to a building so we're not getting rained on anymore. And then, yeah, I'm wearing gray sweatpants and it looks like I peed myself. So that's one story.
We just want to see the dragon that breathes fire.
Yep, that's it. That's all we want to see.
That's it.
That's all we want to see. And we are braving the freezing, windy rain to get there.
This is slightly above terribly miserable.
My body hates me.
Oh yeah, it's worth it. What was your experience like these last couple weeks helping out with these schools in Bulgaria and Poland?
It's been wonderful. Got to do training with a couple of my friends. Not sure if you're planning on, like, people know it's you, so
yeah.
Got to come out to Europe with my buddies Jake and Aaron, and got to basically, we all kind of took leads on training, but it was nice being able to kind of train with them and kind of feed off of each other. And I think I learned a lot from both of them on how to train wrestlers. So it's been a wonderful learning experience for me as well.
Nice.
It's a lot of validation, and if I never got the validation from a major contract or a WrestleMania match, it's sure validating when those students from abroad who've not had a lot of proper coaching have that light bulb moment and have that moment where it becomes clear, and I can do that.
Do you think there's anything you've learned about yourself while traveling for wrestling?
I definitely, so this is my third trip to Europe, and I definitely used to be the kind of person that would get very nervous about traveling, just because, especially in like a foreign country, because I just didn't know, like, to me, it's like, I'm so used to being in the United States where I can read the language and all that stuff, but I guess if anything, it's taught me how to like not panic and how to like just kind of go with the flow and just enjoy the experiences that I'm having.
Sometimes in those second and third world countries, like, pro wrestling means so much more because it's an escape they have from all of the drama and corruption and difficulties of just living in certain places.
Fear is irrelevant. I have experienced fear in many, many ways, because I don't think that I'm, like many people I'm sure, don't think that I'm good enough. I don't think that I know enough. I don't think that I'm capable. I kind of felt like for years I'd never be in a place like this right now. I'd never be overseas doing what I love, showing other people my dedication and my skill and everything like that, but I'm sitting here right now with two of my best friends, just living our dream, just living the life, man. Fear means nothing.
It's April of 2025, and I'm here in Indianapolis, about 5 months after those 3 interviews were filmed, the one with myself and with Jack and Aaron. Theirs were at Krakow International Airport at about 4 a.m., and mine was very late that same night, but after I returned to Indianapolis. I was trying to get all of our interviews filmed at the same exact time, and we were in the same exact mindset in the same exact place, but with some chaos at Krakow Airport and us missing a connection on the way home, we ended up getting split into 2 groups on the way home. So 2 of us returned back to Cincinnati via Detroit, and then 1 via Minneapolis, and it was a whole chaotic mess. But I wish I would have gotten my words at the exact same time as theirs, because we were at the end of a 2-week trip, and we had just tried to uncomfortably sleep for a few hours on the cold floor and in the cold chairs at Krakow International Airport, and we were in the same inhibitionless mind state. And that's when I tried to film my interview as well, when I was still dragging pretty bad and just letting everything out. And that finished up our second trip to Europe as a trio. We got to coach in Bulgaria and Poland on that trip. 1 year before, we got to go to England, and we got to go to Romania, and we got to coach and wrestle in those places as well. And these videos have been coming out, and I'm interviewing these students about what wrestling means to them, and I thought it was important to also put what wrestling means to the 3 of us, because now we have a combined over 60 years of experience wrestling professionally in the pro wrestling business, which is absolutely insane. And with our wisdom, and our age now, we have come to appreciate wrestling in a different light, and we know that we don't have a lot of time left in our careers, and we're all kind of eyeing the end. And when you're faced with your own mortality, that changes things for you. And we want to give back to the scene so badly that we will fly overseas, and we will do it until we can do it no longer. And obviously we all three got emotional because this is what we've dedicated our lives to. I think the best things in most of our lives have come as a result of pro wrestling, but also most of the pain that we've encountered in our lives has come from the result of choosing to be in the professional wrestling industry. And when we see young, hungry kids in the UK and Romania, Poland, and Bulgaria, that shines a little light on us, that hopefully these people will have a truly beautiful and miraculous journey, and they'll have all these great memories as a result of it at the end. It's really easy to get bitter and jaded in what we do, and I think the three of us are in a pretty good place, even though a lot of what we tried to go for didn't quite work out for us. But we don't take a single second of this for granted anymore, and we love it so much and we're so passionate about it. I hope that people can understand at least a small percentage of what pro wrestling means to us, because to us, pro wrestling means everything. It means our existence. Even after our in-ring career is over, can the stuff we've taught, especially some of these kids recently, help them foundationally on the course of their entire career, and in a way, in the course of their lives.